us away from getting back on track, man. Everything. We want to kill one another, fight one another, gossip about one another. Am I striking some nerves out there, bro? I need to know this, man. Cause I'm trying to tell you, man. This is named the elephant in the room for a reason. True talking turn man mortars. Ran forward, main fast forward to the land's borders. Young abnormal.
Hello, welcome back to Bridging the Gap. My name is David James, and we're here with Maryland Maverick, co-host of Bridging the Gap, and great guy, Colin McEvers. Welcome back, Colin.
It's nice to be here. It's wonderful to be here. Hello, Bridging the Gap. This is also a collaborative episode with the Maryland Maverick, of course, which is the podcast for the Maryland College Republicans. Hello, Patriots. My name is Colin McEvers. Welcome back to the Maryland Maverick. Today, we are doing a collaborative episode with Bridging the Gap, my favorite media source on the Wicomico on the Eastern Shore. And, of course, I'm a co-host of this organization as well. So we're here today, and we're going to talk about a lot of wonderful things. I'll give it over to our wonderful, wonderful guest, Pax Garcia.
And co-host here on Bridging the Gap. Pax?
Yes, my name is Pax Garcia. It's an honor to be here with my friends, David James, of course, Colin McEvers. I am the Vice President of the Turning Point USA chapter at Salisbury University, a good friend of Colin here, good friend of David James. I really appreciate them bringing me on.
Yes. And this is exciting because, as you say, we have simulcasts going on right here in Maryland Maverick. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there with Maryland Maverick.
So we started up our podcast for the Maryland Maverick, which is, of course, the official podcast of the Maryland College Republicans. That was shortly after I became the chairman. And so we started probably back in early September. And so we've done a lot of episodes about different things, ranging from 287G, immigration, all these different things. When we had our debate with Joe Venosa, we broadcasted on there. Pax, of course, was the moderator for that.
Yeah, good job, too. Great.
Thank you.
We really clashed, and we had a great back and forth. Of course, Joe Venosa doesn't like to consider it a clash, but it was a clash. And it's good to have these discussions and these debates. So it was incredible. And, of course, now that I'm back in Salisbury and Wicomico, I have more time to focus on doing these episodes with you and with the Maryland Maverick and doing episodes on a weekly basis. So in that sense, I am glad that the election season for this year at least has concluded.
Yeah, at least for this year, but it's about to start cranking up on the county and the state, and actually even some, I think some national seats may be coming up here soon. Now, you were mentioning, the campaign trail. I know you've been everywhere, and not only do you do things here in Salisbury and with the campus and with TPUSA and other things, but you also are on the statewide. So how's everything going with that?
Yeah. So, again, I'm the chairman of the Maryland College Republicans, and we have a really great team. We're really making it stronger and more effective. And as part of that, I find it a responsibility to help out campaigns in different parts of Maryland. And I actually got contacted by somebody who was involved with the Annapolis Republican Central Committee, and she asked me to help out with Bobby O'Shea's campaign. He was running for mayor in Annapolis. And so it was an incredible experience. It was a month-long process. We were really doing like a sprint. We were knocking on a lot of doors. I knocked on probably about 1,000 or so in the month-long period. I was going back and forth between Annapolis and Salisbury. So it was a lot of driving. It was very, very busy. That's why I've been pretty distant. And, a lot of hard work. And again, we ended up getting pretty whooped, pretty crushed in the election. It was, for the in-person voting, it was on Election Day, and I was out there sign waving for 12 hours. It ended up being 1,700 votes for Bobby O'Shea and about 4,200 for Jared Littman. So, of course, it was a difficult experience. We had a, after party afterwards, looking at the results and seeing as the election results around the country came in, and Republicans, across the line were basically being pummeled. And it's unfortunate. I wouldn't say it was an incredible shock in the same way that like the blue wave in 2022 was, but it was, it kind of expected because currently the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and also the presidency, the White House. And in these off-year elections, Republicans they don't really vote that much, unfortunately. They don't vote in these off-year elections too frequently, if you just look at the stats. And so, in addition to the government shutdown, which has been branded as Democrats, of course the Democrats are responsible, this government shutdown has been blamed on the Trump administration and the Republican Congress. So, of course, a lot of Democrats ended up going out and voting against the national problems without actually thinking about the local issues.
I see what
they
you're
voted
saying.
against Trump,
Yeah.
they voted against the Republican Congress,
Yeah.
and we saw massive losses across the board, unfortunately.
Wow. But, one thing we can say in this political realm is things do go up and down as far as who's winning and who's got the seats, but your passion hasn't decreased, and that's what's awesome. I mean, it's just going to build for the next time. Pax made a comment earlier about being the vice president of TPUSA for the campus. Are you affiliated with that as well?
Yeah, and actually, and let me just clarify so that if anybody's watching
Sure.
that's part of the administration, the campus administration, I'm just going to clarify that it is not officially affiliated with Salisbury University. That will come next semester, but it is
Awesome.
an official
Okay.
chapter, and it is
It's already
chartered
in the
with,
heart.
it's chartered with TPUSA National USA.
Nice,
So it is
nice.
an actual organization. And speaking of TPUSA, the reason we started up in the first place is because of the national outcry over Charlie Kirk's assassination,
Yeah.
and the response afterwards. All the people that were basically cheering his death and celebrating his assassination, mostly far-left liberals. And Charlie Kirk, he was a podcaster. He was a conservative podcaster. He wasn't some kind of national politician.
Right.
By them celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, really, we need to think they would be celebrating our deaths as well, as people who are conservatives, who are Republicans, who express our opinions and our views. And what really shocked me about the election results, I was surprised about this guy, Jay Jones, in Virginia, who won the Attorney General seat after his text messages openly expressing a desire to kill Republicans. I mean, it was terrible,
That's
and he
scary.
won the election.
Scary. Well, they're wow. I mean, how does that person get elected if everybody knows that?
I don't know. I guess Democrats didn't really care, and he did not step down. Now, if he were a Republican and he were, making edgy comments or something, they'd probably make him step down. It's incredibly insane how much infighting currently exists in the Republican Party. I mean, the Democrats are electing people who openly fantasize about us and our children dying, and they are electing these people, whereas we're infighting because, say, Tucker Carlson brought on someone they don't like for a podcast interview.
Right.
I mean, it's insane. I think we need to stop the infighting. We need to stop going after our own people. I remember, you probably remember this, and you do too, a couple weeks ago when this Politico article, this smear piece, was basically released about all these Republican group chats. And a bunch of Republicans, ended up, disowning and distancing themselves. I don't think we should be doing that as Republicans at this time, because we need to unify. We need to stick together, because there are a lot of people on the other side who literally want us dead. So we need to be unified in fighting against that. So I don't think we should have so much infighting in the Republican Party. I'm not sure if that's going to change anytime soon, but I really think it's important, especially in the context of TPUSA, Charlie Kirk, and these elections that have happened in the past couple days.
Pax, what do you think?
I totally agree. I think that especially with that Politico article that we saw, where a lot of younger Republicans were punished for the things that they were saying in a group chat, and what they were saying oftentimes or all of the time were just jokes, people joking around, people talking privately amongst themselves in a group chat. And then you get somebody who's upset when they're not given a position, a political position among their peers in a younger Republican group, who then leaks the group chat. And of course, this is in the times we're in now, as Colin said, the left wants us dead. We saw it after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. We all saw it on TikTok. We saw it on Instagram. People posting videos of themselves celebrating the death, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And then people also dressing up for Halloween. Halloween just happened. There were people dressing up as Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated. So clearly we have an enemy that is the left, and they want us dead. We have to unite on the right wing and actually stand against the left during this very important time.
Right.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Well, I mean, I want to like add something here. It's definitely, again, just the minister in me. We're dealing with a spiritual problem. You know, people who just do things like dressing up like Charlie Kirk and just some of the mean things that are coming out. And, you know, I was just talking to Pax earlier. I made a post on the on my page from the Black Conservative Federation, and I had a person that I've never had a problem with, long until she found out I was a Republican. And then all of a sudden, I started getting comments and, you know, you're blaming this person. I never said I'm blaming anybody for anything. I just, you know, but you posted this, okay, you know. It's just really getting scary right now where people are really just going crazy. I mean, that was small, but there are bigger scales of this. And, I mean, I understand how you're saying it's the left versus the right, but there's a lot of just insane thoughts going on right now. And people who are, you know, the Bible tells us that in the last day you're going to have what's good seen as being bad. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And, you know, just seeing you guys out there, and you did a lot of door knocking. You did a lot. You put a lot of miles on your brand new vehicle. You know, keep going, because you're young at this, and as you're watching this craziness happen, guess what? Your time's coming again. So just keep pushing what's right. And you know, and the unfortunate thing that happened with Brother Kirk. Something good came out of it, because before that, I had met you before that, but I didn't meet you. Mm-hmm. So now, here we are now making a difference together. Wow. Now, you mentioned something about a debate. You got some debates going on? Did you have a debate?
Yes, actually. I've been really stepping into the world of debate lately.
Talk to me.
Like, I've never really done debates before, but my first political debate was between myself and Joe Venosa, who I know you're familiar with and you've met as well. We had a debate. He's a liberal professor, and he might say, oh, I'm not a liberal, I'm not a leftist, whatever. It's like, let's get rid of these labels. Labels are important sometimes, and he is a liberal. And I think he'd admit that as well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. He's a liberal. I'm a pretty right-leaning Republican. There's nothing wrong with labels. But, yeah, it was a good debate. It was a good-natured debate. We had a discussion about 287G, and my position was that law and order is essential in a society, in a functioning society. We need to enforce laws in this country, and we need to look out for our American citizens. We cannot be compassionate and let in a bunch of people from different countries illegally, because that not only affects American citizens who were born here naturally, who need government resources, or who just don't want to see the quality of their life plummet. It's also a really terrible disservice that we're doing to legal immigrants who have came here the right way, who have come through the door the right way, and people that are actually trying to become legal immigrants. We're letting people cut in line, and that was my main position. Of course, a lot of the people there that came out for the debate to watch it were liberals, and they didn't necessarily agree with me, but at the end of the day, they were there, they listened, and they were politically involved in that way, and I think that's incredible. Of course, there were disagreements, but there was no violence, there was no safety concern of any kind.
A lot of prayers on your head, though, also. We pray.
Wonderful. Thank you. And of course, it was, we actually talked a little bit about morality and Christian values in the context of it, of illegal immigration itself. And there were a lot of different topics that we covered. And Pax, what did you think about the debate? Because, of course, you were the moderator for it.
Yes, I thought it was excellent. I thought you and Joe both did a great job, and I thought that a lot of the people that came out were left-leaning, but there were no issues, there were no counter-protests of any kind. A lot of the people said afterwards that it was a really great debate, and they look forward to seeing more, actually. They look forward to seeing us do a debate in the auditorium maybe next time on campus. A lot of positive feedback. And I thought as the moderator that it went extremely well. You know, Joe Venosa and Colin, they did not interrupt each other. You know, I really didn't even have to do that much moderation, to be honest with you.
Huh?
Right. I really didn't. And I didn't know what to expect going into it, if there was going to be a lot of interruptions or anything of the sort, but there really were not. And so I thought it was a very informative debate, one that was not, for such a topic that you would think would be so sensational. Of course, it did generate a lot of hype, a lot of buzz there on campus. In spite of that, it was very straightforward and it was very informative, in spite of it being such a sensational topic for so many students and so many people in Wicomico.
And just to add, we didn't expect so many people to show up. I mean, there were over 100 people, both mostly students, but there were also some people in the community who ended up coming out. And we had no idea that so many people were going to be there. We had a room reserved, or at least we thought we had a room reserved, but apparently there was a technical difficulty. Even if we did have one reserved, we would have had to do it in the way that we did, in a haphazard way, because it was just so many people. There was a surge of students who wanted to come out, and that's really never happened in SU history since I've been there. So it was good in that sense, but at the same time, now I'm facing some struggles and some pushback. I've heard some rumors that I had a little meeting that I won't really go into for legal purposes, but at the same time, I'm hearing rumors that there might be some additional sanctions or additional punishments levied out to me. And I just want to say on the record that if that happens and there are some major punishments divvied out to me for having an intellectual conversation with someone and inspiring political discussion on campus, and of course there were mistakes along the way, but for such to be punished in a way that legitimately affects my life, I think would be a really, really bad thing. And I definitely will fight if it means damaging the college Republicans on campus. If the punishment that they're going to levy out or distribute or whatever, if the rumors I'm hearing are true, then there will be a fight and there will be media attention and there will be political activism. I'm totally willing to do all those things because I'm standing on principles and I'm not going to back down in the face of some kind of powerful entity. And I don't think that's something that anyone should do. We should all stand on our principles. We should stand on what's right. And I don't think it'd be right to, force someone to go into hiding or force someone to be punished for really doing nothing wrong. So
I'm going to say my quote once again. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So just keep going. Keep standing for what's right, and know that. And I'm gonna use Bible, a little Bible verse with it. The weapons may form, but they won't prosper. They're going to form. The weapons formed against these shall not prosper, but they're going to form. So just get ready for them to form, but just keep going. Focus. Your focus, both of your focus is awesome. I want to say this before we close out. We are going to be doing an executive decision coming up. There's a lot of really important decisions. It's great having Colin back around. Again, I admire you for everything you've been doing out there on the campaign trail, what you've been doing with the college Republicans, the Maryland Young Republicans, Lower Shore. You got 4 belts now. We know that. I mean, I'm inspired by that. But we're going to be doing the executive decision, and Pax also is going to be there with us. And I'm looking to really talk about some very important things like 287G. We know something happened at the council meeting, and the executive had made a decision. I'm actually going to show the clip here on this.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday to you all. I'm actually on my way across the bridge, but I wanted to stop because I wanted to come on here and do a quick little clarification. And first and foremost, if you have not gone to Eastern Shore Undercover this morning, please go to Eastern Shore Undercover. There is a great article that does a wonderful job explaining exactly what happened Tuesday night at the council meeting. And so I just wanted to come on here really quick also and share with you kind of our thought process about the 287G. So we were very interested in the warrant service officer model. Most of you know that. And we were ready to move forward. We had one more work session with the county council. But in between the first council meeting that we talked about this, and then, of course, Tuesday night's council meeting, there was a memo put out by Anthony Brown, our AG, and it sort of changed things. He had put something out where the guidance was that law enforcement should not and will not enter into any agreements with ICE in any sort of 287G capacity. And that really threw a wrench in the plans that we had. So Sheriff Lewis and I had worked really hard to figure out a way that we were going to make this happen and partner with ICE here in Wacomico County. And the reason we wanted to do it is for public safety. We know that there were a ton of you that reached out across the county that were very much in favor of us partnering with ICE with 287G. Yes, we had some protesters, but I will tell you, those who supported us very much outweighed the protests. So I just wanted you, to know that. But there was this memo put out, guidance saying that law enforcement will not work with 287G at all. And it's very frustrating because, the state should not be interfering with local law enforcement like that and telling local law enforcement who they, which federal agencies they should be able to work with. And that is where that frustration lies with me and with Sheriff Lewis. And so with that coming out and the threatening manner that it came out saying that our deputies could be sued, and if they decided to pursue this, any of our law enforcement officers, any of our police officers, we decided, okay, wait a minute, we need to really take a step back and figure this out. We also caught wind, if you look at the Maryland state law, it does state that correctional officers can work in a 287G, with a 287G model. So we have correctional officers. So yes, Wacomico County still can work with the 287G program. And honestly, we plan to do so. However, there have been some talk, going on that in the upcoming legislative session that they may change Maryland law stating that maybe correctional officers might not be able to, or that they're really going to limit how anybody in the state of Maryland works with that federal agency. And so without that knowledge, of course, we can't predict the future, we decided that it would probably be best for our county if we stopped, sort of took a pause, see what happens in this upcoming session, and then make the decision in about mid-April. I will tell you that if nothing changes in the legislative session, we do plan to move forward with the program and the partnership. So I just want to make that very clear. So while things are paused right this moment, we understand that this is a public safety issue. We understand that the majority of the people in the county support this, and support law enforcement and support, our federal government and support, the Trump administration. So, I'm just really frustrated at this point in time because we have too many people telling local officials how they should run their county. And what works in Montgomery County may not work in Wacomico County, and what works in Cecil County may not work in Dorchester County. So they really need to make sure that before they start putting statewide mandates out and things like that, that they really need to understand that every county is different, and what works in one county is not going to work in another county. So I just wanted to come on here. The decision was not made because of protests. The decision was not made because of faxes that came into my office. The decision was made because it is my job, and of course it is the sheriff's job, that we are protecting the people of this county, but more so he has to protect his deputies. And, and they're employees of the county. And so we are not going to put them in a situation with the state to where any sort of lawsuit could happen, that they could lose their credentials. We're not going to do that. So we will revisit this once the session is over. So we are looking at mid-April, and we will, kind of take it from there. So we really think that this was the smartest thing to do at this point in time. We are looking at some legal aspects of this. I will be honest with you. We're kind of looking at the legality of, that type of mandate coming down. But anyway, I just wanted to come on here and say that. And again, the article is out on Eastern Shore Undercover, so please read that, go to that. But I wanted to come on here and tell you specifically that we did not bow down. We did not back down. We are simply putting this on pause because we need to kind of reevaluate exactly how we're going to do this. But as of right now, Wacomico County still could move forward, but we are going to wait till the legislative session is over just to sort of see if any Maryland laws are changing. I would hate to put my COs through any sort of training and then all of a sudden it be taken away. I mean, that would just be a waste of time and resources. So again, it's better for us to wait just a couple of months, and then we will go ahead and make that final decision. So I just wanted to come on and tell you all that, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much.
She made a decision because of the fact of there's been things changed on the national level, not national level, on the state level. You know what I mean? They call an audible on the state level, so we're gonna be talking about that. Does anybody?
Yeah, and I want to touch on it a little bit too,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, please do.
So one of the main things and components of the debate that we had a couple weeks ago, it was about 287G and why we should implement 287G, the program that they wanted to do, the warrant service model in Wycomico County. First of all, it's not something really radical. And I mentioned this on the Maryland Maverick many times. It's a very vanilla version of the actual 287G. It's not gearing up sheriff's deputies in ICE uniforms, sending them out to round up a bunch of illegal aliens that are living here
Certainly
and
not.
committing a crime every single day by being in this country and basically using up the government services that American citizens need. So the argument was we should have it. And of course, Julie Giordano wanted to implement the 287G program in Wycomico County. But now there's been this state overreach, which is really, really frustrating, honestly. Anthony Brown, who's the Attorney General for the state of Maryland, has sent out a memo, from what I understand, a memo which has ordered counties not to implement the 287G program. It is overriding and kind of discarding the rights
it's
and
kind
the
of
abilities
stepping
and
on
the
a county.
responsibilities of counties and localities.
It really is.
And
It's an overreach.
it is an overreach, and it's doing a disservice to our communities, because our community in Wycomico, despite all the Haitian immigrants who came out and ACLU members who came out and detested it or whatever, denounced it, a lot of community members want to feel safe in Wycomico County. They don't want to be living on the same ground as people who are here illegally, who have committed a crime, who are breaking law every single day. And it's really important, and now we're basically unable to do anything.
For now. It's on hold.
It's on hold until spring, but after the legislative session, they're probably going to... Westmore and the Maryland Democratic supermajority is likely going to basically strip more rights away from counties and local governments and say, actually, 287G programs can't even be implemented, even in the places that they currently are. That's actually on the table. That's probably going to be coming around in 2026. We'll ask about that and see if that's a possibility.
Here's my question.
It's a possibility, because Westmore wants to use this as political red meat against Trump, and he wants to be seen as the person who's fighting against the Trump administration, fighting against ICE, fighting against this boogeyman that ICE has been made out to be, and it's sick.
My question is, and he's very passionate.
That's good.
I agree with you. My question is despite what the governor does, there's going to be a time when the federal government's going to step in. Now, I made this comment at the last council meeting, not this one, but the one before, is anybody talking about what happens next? Because here we are, we're here at the next part, because I'm pretty sure that there's no communication, or really bad communication, going on between the federal government and Westmore. So, but there are counties that have executives and people who are running that, whoever it be, what would they call it right now in those counties, they don't have executives, that are friends with the Trump administration. So what happens next? We've seen what happened in California, where you had just the mayors and the different places that stood against ICE, and they came in anyway. So, like you said, with this 287G, from what I researched and saw on that, number one, I think that the correctional officers actually got a little bit of a bonus for actually doing this. So I know I've got a couple of family members, I can't name their names, I wouldn't mind having a little extra money during Christmas for just doing their job. But anyway, so what happens next is before, if they had done this, please correct me if I'm wrong, the correctional facilities would tell ICE that, hey, they're on your watch. They had to be on the watch. But once they only held them for 48 hours.
Yes, basically, and that's just like an extra step in making sure that illegal immigrants are not let back onto the streets,
right,
and are basically skipped by the system, and they're processed, that they're kept in jail longer for breaking the law, which is being here in America. Now, in regards to the federal government, what they can still do, they can still send in ICE and do these raids and do mass deportations, but there won't be collaboration from the county government.
It's going to be more aggressive. It's going to be more aggressive.
Well, it might be less efficient, because there's not
That part too.
there's not assistance from these county governments who,
Sure.
who know the area better.
Sure.
So there should be that collaboration. That's exactly what 287G tries to do. And now the Maryland government, Wes Moore, Anthony Brown, all these far-left Democrats are saying, well, you can't do that. So it's making the process less efficient, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. Because,
Right.
again, they don't care about Marylanders or Americans.
So my question is and just my question, I'm pretty sure somebody can answer it for me. So what do they say to Florida or Tennessee that has somebody here in Maryland that is wanted for murder, and they're in jail, and they contact that state and say, hey, we have somebody wanted for murder. They give them 5 days, right? ICE was only given 48 hours. So does the state of Maryland say to that state that, oh, well, that person wanted for murder, but they're here in Maryland, so you can't come get them? Because that's basically what they said to ICE, that you have a reason to come get them, but we're saying no. And the people who are elected to take care of their counties, y'all can't do nothing about it. That's what I'm getting.
Basically, I mean that's what it seems like to me, if I'm reading you right. And I think, yeah, again, it makes the process less efficient, and it really does a disservice to our county and to our community.
Wow.
So, it's terrible, but, I'm not necessarily surprised that they're trying to do this because, again, they're trying to get some political gains. And Maryland is, of course, controlled by these far-left Democrats, people who are still funding child mutilation services to children and taxing us for that purpose, and all these other things, proposing bills to put condom vending machines in kindergarten at classrooms.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not necessarily surprised, but we need to make sure that people like Barry Beecham win these elections against people who are going to cave, because Josh Hastings is someone who, frankly, will go along with whatever the Democrats say, because, again, he's a Democrat, and he's going to be forced to step into line with them. If they vote on something like, whatever far-left radical agenda they want to promulgate, he'll go along with them because they're going to give him money in order to win the election. So we need to make sure we win the election for common-sense Republicans, people like Barry Beecham. And so that's what we're going to work on. Pax is also becoming involved in the Lower Shore Young Republicans as well, and he has a decent network of people, of young men and young women who are also interested in getting involved and actually, taking back our county, taking back our state, really. So
I'm looking forward to trying to talk to Councilman Hastings. I haven't really had any, I don't like to use the word luck, but luck getting anybody from Shore Progress to sit down and do an interview with us.
I'd love to do a debate with Shore Progress. I'd love to do a debate with Jared Shaplin. That's what I'd like to do. If you're watching this, Jared, I'd like to debate you on an issue. I don't care what it is, but I would enjoy doing that because, again, Shore Progress is the most far-left radical group on the Eastern Shore. You could have a debate, me and Jared. Me and Jared having a debate.
We're going to see if we can work on that, and maybe Bridging the Gap, and you can bring it here. I should have said this at the beginning, but before we close out, I want to say that Bridging the Gap is a local producer. We are not part of PAC 14. We appreciate PAC 14 allowing us to bring forth information, but the conversations and the thoughts that we say here while talking are our thoughts and our feelings and not that of PAC 14. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening in. Pax, would you like to say anything in closing?
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I look forward to doing the executive decisions.
You'll get to talk a lot more than I promise. We have a very
great.
passionate Colin back. I'm so glad to have him back.
Glad to be back.
And we love Colin.
Be back in the studio.
Yes.
Be working with Pax and you.
Yes, and we're looking forward to doing a lot of other things. And with Bridging the Gap, we're going to keep bringing you information. Have a great one.
God bless.
Elephant in the room for a reason. True talking turn man mortars. Ran forward, main fast forward. To the land's borders, young abnormal. Know they wish my fed like a bad organ. In the time of battle, go red form. Snake eyes and rattles, serpents and scorpions. Whole lot of beef and you can't avoid. Dr. Kabuki.